Hello everyone, welcome to World of Warships. I just recorded this as a bit of a test of my recording system, but it turned out to be a pretty interesting game, so I figured I may as well throw it up for you. Pretty balanced teams. Guess we have a slight cruiser advantage tier-wise. Well, they have two tier 6 Japanese destroyers, but overall looks pretty balanced. And I don't know why I recorded the screen so long ago. I haven't really seen a lot of videos really showing the German cruisers very well, so hopefully this will help. There's actually 3 Nurembergs in this game, and a Konigsburg.
Battle starts.
Alright, so kind of the annoying thing about this particular map is half the team starts rather away from the capture point at B up in the north there. So when I usually start in this position, I usually start heading north, and then depending on how the battle goes, there's this nice little hole in the islands on the east side now, so you can always try and dart back down if your team at B seems to have things handled.
Enemy force detected.
And for some reason in Omaha is the first thing that comes into view, so switch to armor piercing after the initial volley. In my opinion, it's a nice thing, but an interesting thing about a lot of the German cruisers is they have more guns on the back end of the ship. So when you start getting fire, given the long range of a lot of these cruisers, you should usually start veering slightly away from your opponents, especially when there's a lot of ships. Very effective at short range, but typically only against 1 or 2 targets where you can actually see the fire there, keep track of all the shells incoming at you and dodge them because their armor's so thin. You really don't want to be taking a lot of hits. So keep in mind that Isokaze destroyer hanging out over there. He's going to show up again in a minute, but I get a lucky hit on him, even though he disappears from my view before I can really track him down. And I still have high explosive loaded, so I decided to harass this New Mexico battleship a little bit. And I noticed this Cleveland cruiser in pretty bad shape, so I switched to armor piercing and see if I can't grab the kill on him. Sadly I don't, but and that Isokaze's there again. So fire to clear the barrel, switch back to high explosive. Unlucky hit. Fire my guns. They come out of... I can't have a line of fire on them again, but watch this. I was just confused there for a minute, but even though I wasn't even watching him, apparently I got 2 hits on him, and one of them went right into his magazine and instantly blew him up, so yeah, lucky kill there. But I won't complain. I guess it's sort of the World of Warship equivalent of making a 3-point throw-in basketball from, throwing it behind you and making a 3-point shot. But anyway, yeah, it does turn out that it's a good thing I came up here, because our B point is pretty highly contested by 3 cruisers and a battleship or 2, so yeah. I do what I can to try and thin out the cruiser population here. again, trying to make sure to sail away from all these enemy ships, because A, it makes you a harder target to track and fire at, and it allows me to keep my range, since even though the Nuremburg doesn't gain any range over the Konigsburg, at tier 6 for a cruiser, 16.5 kilometers is still pretty well. And some of these ships aren't tier 6, so... There's another Nuremberg, though, so he's going to be able to shoot at me no matter what, if I can shoot at him, but... And that New York got a few decent hits on me, but no Citadels, so I can survive that. But I decided I should probably try and make myself a harder target for him. And... oh man, that's great. I think at least one of those would have hit. One decent hit. 4, I guess. And this Karlsruhe only now seems to realize how much trouble he's in and starts taking some evasive maneuvers. This dodges, I assume that's from that Minikaze over to the west a bit, but it's a good thing he's around, though. He'll really save my butt later in the game here. And just barely get the kill stolen from me, but that's alright. Ow. This happens so... it's probably a new mistake here, but... I got too busy shooting, I didn't realize how close I was getting to this land mat, this island here, and amusingly, Konigsburg on our team over here didn't seem to have done exactly the same thing. Unfortunately, he ended up being slightly closer to the enemy than I did, so he ended up taking all the fire, so... Unofficial rule of World of Warships number 1. Always use your allies as meat shields whenever possible. So...
Don't fire
yeah,
at
actually
your
I have to shoot him
allies.
because we're so close, but... And then I noticed this Kuma here and trying to go for the cap on our base, so I can't have that. Look at that. Double Citadel. Offensive values turning, and there he goes. Now, getting 2 Citadels on a single volley is pretty good no matter what, but this is great. Within 1 minute, 2 double Citadels of this thing.
Our team is taking the lead.
And all of a sudden I've killed 2 cruisers. Which means now the battleships are left all on their own. So I switch to high explosive and start harassing this New Mexico, who I think is busy shooting at one of our battleships. I think it's a Congo maybe down there, or if one of the Fusos, New York, I'm not sure which one. Looks like there's at least 2 that could be in firing range out of the south in the strait there. But now I am closing range here since the battleship is distracted, and when there's only 1 or 2 targets, the Nuremberg is pretty viable at close range, so especially against battleships, since their reload time is so large, you have a lot more time to close the gap here. There is that other New York, but you'll notice that destroyer on the minimap is getting really close to him, and so all of his attention is busy on that, so I end up having a pretty good time here. Part of the reason I like the Nuremberg so much in close combat is it has 6 torpedo tubes on each side, and they have pretty large... you can fire them in a lot of directions off the side. They have a lot of good arc of fire, so throw out some torpedoes there. Turns out not to be necessary. The only annoying thing about it is when you... Oh, look at all those secondary batteries fire. Just a wall of lead, but...
Stations, reporting the position of a strategic target.
I guess that... I'm not sure if that's Minikaze that got the kill, because the shots came from the north, but... Anyway. B is now secured, so... Just a mop-up operation. Watch fighter plane just to... The match is about to be over, and it has a 6-minute duration, and sometimes it helps you find destroyers. I am actually thinking about swapping out my scout plane back to the... or my fighter plane, I think it's actually called, for the sonar search. Just because, in theory, the plane should also help against enemy aircraft, but it seems pretty unreliable to me. So, I don't know. Especially in matches like this, where there's no enemy aircraft carriers, so... You know, both of my consumables, the defensive anti-aircraft fire and the scout plane special abilities, really don't get much mileage unless there's a... Don't get much use out of them unless there's an aircraft carrier. Sonar might be a better bet, because you're always going to have some destroyers to have to search for. Or more importantly, dodge the torpedoes they'll try and send at you. And of course this island is in the way of all my shots again. And this is a little confusing. One of the guys on the enemy team is actually telling us where their last battleship is. He accuses him of being a bot. I'm really not sure what bots can do in World Warships, but he does shoot at me a little bit, so, and dodge torpedoes later on, so maybe they can do that. Maybe he's just a bad player. I don't know, but regardless, it's a target, so. I have shells incoming, so I'll try and tighten my profile here, which means I can only shoot with my forward triple gun turret, but better to only be shooting them one of your guns and it'll get your ship destroyed, so. And when these, I think they're both Minikazes, these destroyers ahead of me, yep, 2 Minikaze destroyers close in on him, he's gonna have a lot bigger problems than me, so I'll be able to shoot at him with all my guns then. Again. I guess he's firing, I'm not sure if that was a high explosive or armor piercing round, but all it did was take out my torpedoes, and at this range, yeah, there's even an island in a way, so that did absolutely nothing. So now he seems to have realized the destroyers are around, so he's firing at them with his main battery guns. Not a good thing when you're a battleship, but those destroyers are definitely a much bigger threat than I am to him at the moment, so... And I won't complain, because I like not getting shot at. Now I figure it's a safe time to turn slightly and put all my guns and start shooting him. I'm trying to set him on fire with high explosive shells, but German high explosive weapons is not necessarily the best at doing that, but generally, I don't know. I've heard there is some debate over whether German cruisers should use armor piercing on battleships or not, but the New Mexico is pretty well armored even for a battleship, and I like to try and set 1 or 2 fires on a battleship, and then if they don't put them out with the repair ability, and he takes some torpedoes here, and then turns in to avoid the second spread. Yeah, maybe it was a bot. I didn't realize that he did nothing to avoid that first spread. But by luck or skill, well, he takes that torpedo there, but right when I switch to armor piercing, I do get the fire lit on him, finally. And I don't know if it was the fire or my shells, but I get the final kill on that New Mexico. And yeah, not a bad game.
Enemy battleship.